8, 9.
All right, back with another one, Rick's Moment. And I got two of guests that is here with me this afternoon. To my right, Mr. Mario, and to my left,
Soraya.
So, we're here for another good conversation.
A rerun.
A rerun. Yes, it is. It's a rerun. Okay. It's a rerun, and so basically it's the same, you know, you're going to tell me your opinion about it, how you feel, give me your perspective on it, and at the end, or maybe somewhere in between, I can put my 2 cents in. So, the first one I'm going to ask you, because I remember the first time, like I said, we had conversation, it didn't work out well, so we're going to have to ask you the questions all over again. So, just your perspective on spirituality and what's that mean to you? In your words.
I think spirituality is a set of beliefs that you adopt to be your own and to be kind of like your personal code. You know, kind of like how, you know, in Christianity you have the 10 Commandments. Spirituality is you creating your own commandments, you know, your own way of going about the world and experiencing it. I think that's what it's about.
How do you feel about that, Mr. Ryan? You want to put 2, 3?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with him. I think it's like not a set structure. There's so many like different like categories to spirituality and spiritualism. It's really your own set of beliefs based off of like, you know, certain aspects and other like like different religions, like what you were saying, Car as well, like picking up on certain, because it really is kind of, it's a lot of it almost the same thing but different wording. You know what I mean? Like sin's like no different to karma than to me, no different than karma to me, you know? But it's like your own set of beliefs that work for you. I don't think anybody should judge accordingly to it, because what works for you is what works for you, because we're genetically built different. So I just feel like spirituality is like what you make of it your own way, what works for you spiritually. Yeah.
For me, it's more so just kind of just understanding that it's a deeper level than the surface. Just understanding that there is other different dimensions that's out there that we haven't yet to experience, as far as you being here in this time space, you know. So there's more to it than that. You know, also understanding that there are beliefs and there are knowings, and there's a difference as well too. But for the most part, yeah, I'm on board with that. You know, what you had talked about. But there's definitely a lot of knowing that's involved there, versus what someone else is telling you. Something that you didn't personally gather is something that comes from within. Like I said, it's a totally different dimension that most people don't realize. More to life than it is.
Yeah, I think, you know, the big issue with kind of people having a barrier to spirituality is that there's this concept of hippy dippiness. It has nothing to do with any one thing in particular. It doesn't have to do with drugs or with religion or with voodoo or what have you. You know, it's just stuff that you find to better suit you than other things, you know. I prefer to believe in karma. There are people who don't believe in karma, you know, and it's fully up to you. And I do believe that what you ultimately believe in is the rule set that you apply to yourself, right? So like, if you honestly believe people shouldn't steal and you're stealing, then you're messing yourself up on your own accord, right? It's not about there's this particular standard. It's the standard that you set for yourself, right?
So you mean pretty much like it's your make, in other words?
Yeah, I think spirituality is like your personal religion. You know, what do I personally believe and make out of the things that I'm experiencing, you know? Because basically that's how the religions that we know today came about. You know, a group of people experiencing similar events and just kind of putting it together to tell the story of what it is that happened. And you know, because humans were able to, you know, learn and grow off of other people's mistakes. That's kind of like, I think, the overall premise to a lot of those holy books is like, hey, learn from these things that happened to us, you know? And then from that, you start to create your own perception of like, okay, I'm gonna move this particular way.
And I want to mention something as well too, without control, because let people do what they want to do, whether it's good or bad, because the people that control, because I used to think, you know, when we were religious, like when I used to be religious, when my denomination was Christian, because we grew up Catholic Haitians, but and my grandma was like a Jehovah's Witness for like 40 plus years, so I feel you on that. It's crazy. Sorry, you guys. Anyway, any Jehovah's Witness watching out here, but it's all love. But anyway, but yeah, and I just feel like I used to feel like I would get in trouble if I like didn't tell somebody, you know, what they're doing wrong.
Yeah.
And that's not my problem, and it's not my business. And I don't feel that whole fear-mongering thing anymore, that because I'm not telling them something, let them do what they want to do, and you'll see what they'd rather do.
Yeah.
It's up to you if you want to keep interacting with them and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, at the end of the day, we all choose to do the things we engage in. You know, nobody put a gun to our head and told us, smoke the crack. You know, you grabbed the pipe, you lit the lighter, and you inhaled the smoke.
Yeah.
You go through it willingly.
Yeah.
You know, that's why you can't help someone out of addiction. You know, I suppose you can in like playing your role of support, but at the end of the day, it all boils down to them, if they want to drop it or not.
Yeah.
So, you know.
And I also always go back to tribes too, because I feel like that's the best way to like explain it. Like, you know, when they came over and they expressed, you know, conquerors expressed, you know, that you have to be a certain way. Well, why are they barbaric? They were living fine, and they were more connected and had more of a symbiotic relationship with nature and stuff like that. And they got downloads and stuff like that from the sun and stuff like that. Why they need somebody, you know what I'm saying, else to freaking warp their brain. They were fine where they were. Leave them alone. Like, because they're living their freaking best life away from the concrete jungle. And like we were talking about earlier, I want to be there. I want to be with everybody. You can't really know yourself unless you're in, you know, quietness, solitude, peace, like meditation and stuff like that. They were doing fine. We didn't need Wi-Fi and stuff like that, and the internet and Google to prove stuff. We got it through our discernment, you know.
So do you think that there's a harder time to find connection now than it was back then? Is that kind of like what you're saying?
Yes and no. I think yes due to technology, but no because a lot of people are kind of, I feel like, being awakened and forming a collective consciousness now.
Yeah, I think the access to it is greater than ever, right? Because you could just Google stuff. But to actually be able to partake in like being disciplined and, you know, being righteous, kind of doing the right thing, that's a lot harder said than done nowadays. Because it's almost like society has kind of twisted in a way to somewhat kind of, how do I say, like support in a way, like the negative behaviors. It's a little backwards, you know. So I think it's harder than ever to truly commit to it, to truly commit to like being on your own and figuring yourself out and not drinking the Kool-Aid. Because, you know, back then you could just run off into a forest. Now there's not really many forests in many places. The most you could do now is, for example, here in Miami, is go to Amelia Earhart Park. And even then you got the highway going on in the background. So you're never really able to pull yourself out of, you know, like the modern jungle, unless you live in already a rural area.
That's what basically I was just asking her. Do you think it's more so now, harder now to get yourself in a place of a connection, so to speak, than it was?
Yeah, I think it's harder to develop a connection, but it's easier to know how to get to that connection. I feel like there's a lot of individuals who have been able to kind of do these transmutations of themselves and they're able to speak on it and help guide others. I think there's more of that now than ever, right? Kind of like shamans. I think there's more access to that, but there's less ability to actually connect and tap into that internal. You know, no matter how much we want to think that we're that next level, there's still so much that, you know, none of us really know. Because we haven't gotten there. We've lost a lot of things through time, you know. Practices die, the winners write the story.
Well, you know what I think it's just like, you know how a snake loses its lair every so often.
The sheds,
That's how we're supposed to be. You know, you
Yeah.
lose that layer and then
You come out stronger,
you come out,
better.
you keep rebuilding.
Yeah, I
that's-
agree.
That's how it goes. So I mean, I think it's just discipline is the key. Discipline is the key. I personally don't know if one was harder than the other because I wasn't
We don't
back
know,
then, you know. But I can just tell you how it is now. I think that it's just it takes discipline, and I think it depends on the individual.
Yeah, today it's absolutely discipline. You need to be able to like put the phone down, you know, go outside, touch the grass, because otherwise you just doom scroll.
Yeah. You get caught up.
You just scroll, and then you blink. Oh shit, it's 10 o'clock. Gotta go to sleep.
Yeah. Like I say, discipline plays a big role in that, and consistency. It's
Yeah.
always played a big role in that. Any other chiming for you off of it? That's it on that one?
Yeah.